My name's Nick, and I have some terrible news. This is not your house. This is a choose-your-own adventure game. You play as a widower. You've gone out, you have spent the day doing errands, you've come home, you've tried to open the door. It's locked. There's someone else in the house, and they are claiming they live there, and that this is not your house. There are 10 endings to this, which excites me very much. So we're going to obviously try and get them all. So let's stop wasting time. Roger always knew if he were attacked, it would happen on the walk from his car to his home. I'm going to up that speed a little bit. So he readied his house key before stepping out of the vehicle, keeping it ready as he walked to the trunk of his car. He hangs his groceries from his wrists, keeping his fingers free to open the front door without fumbling. As Roger makes his way to the porch, his eyes start darting between the house's corners. He had read about a young woman being ambushed in a driveway the week before. He tries to put it out of his mind by counting how many steps it takes him to reach the front door. But he can't stop listening for the sound of someone rushing towards him. There's a gentle breeze and the white noise of distant traffic. Roger assures himself he is right to remain vigilant. It only takes a split second for someone to get the drop on you. Steady with the key now. Smooth is fast. Roger's key slides in on the first try. It won't turn. Roger removes his key and inspects it. It's engraved with a large H. Definitely the correct key. Roger tries the key again. Locked. Jammed. Broken, maybe? Roger takes a step away from the door and scans the area for suspicious persons. He sees no one. He releases his grasp on the key and leaves it in the lock. He drops his grocery bags on the porch. He tries furiously to turn, pull and push on the key and door handle every which way, without success. Roger hears something inside. A shadow passes by the window. It looks like someone's silhouette through the curtain. Roger pounds on the door. Open up this instant! The police are en route! The door unlocks from the inside. Can I help you? Oh, you can start by getting out of my house. This house does not belong to you. Check the deed, lady. A deed is only a piece of paper. Yeah, one that proves that this house is my property. Personal property is a social construct. Those who inhabit a space own it. Let her have the house. No! It's my house! Take your house back. I have a rotisserie chicken cooling off out here. I'll be eating it in my dining room before it's room temp. The homeowner attempts to shut the door on Roger. Roger swiftly jams his foot between the door and its frame. He presses his face into the gap his foot provides. I don't think you heard me. Roger shoulders the door wide open. The homeowner is knocked back into the kitchen. You forgot your chicken. Am I confused? Is this actually not my house? I think it is, but that would be a twist. Let's go stand your ground. I'll get it when you're gone. Be sure not to leave too often, Roger. I have a habit of roosting in untended spaces. Roger hears a car start up right outside. He looks out the window to see what's going on. The homeowner waves from the driver's seat of his car and disappears down the road. It can't be. Roger whirls around. The homeowner is no longer in the kitchen. He proceeds to clear the house, room by room, until he's sure that she's gone. Roger spent the next few days gathering up every trace of the homeowner's presence and passed it on to the authorities. Doilies, table runners, oiled drape runners, candles. It seemed like she'd lived there for years, leaving things in odd places only someone familiar with the space would. It took Roger an additional half day just to rearrange the furniture. Thankfully, She hadn't moved in her own. Then, there was nothing left for Roger to do, except his grocery shopping. He decided to have his groceries delivered by a boy from the neighbourhood for a while. He didn't want to leave the house alone. He started to feel silly about it after a few weeks had passed. Police couldn't locate his missing car. He bought a junker so he could handle his errands around town. Roger didn't notice the walk from his car to his house anymore. The only thing that worried him is whether or not he could turn his key when he got home. A shadow passes by the window. That's cool. That's really, really cool. Okay, ending 1. So, I'm going to do the same thing, except I'm going to go get my rotisserie chicken. I love that you can skip through. That's very cool. Take the house back. Okay, let's go get our rotisserie chicken. Roger turns around to collect his groceries. He sees someone analogous to the homeowner. I wonder if that means similar. We're going to find out. Comparable in certain respects. Typical in a way which makes clearer the nature of things compared. It's vague. But okay, cool. He sees someone analogous to the homeowner devouring his rotisserie chicken. You bastards. The homeowner behind Roger grabs a paring knife. Oh. The homeowner clamps a hand over Roger's mouth and shoves the blade into his back. Oh. Oh no. Oh, Roger. Roger tries to bite the homeowner and break free. Her hand remains firmly clamped over his mouth. He can taste the tang of her blood, with an unexpected acidity. The homeowner gently lowers Roger to the floor. Roger tries to get up, but grows weaker as blood pumps through his heart and out of his back. The homeowner keeps him pinned to the floor and presses down to strain his breathing. Roger grows tired and slips away into a calm and reassuring dark. The homeowner's analog grabs the grocery bags and carries them inside. It sets the bags on the floor and steals a glance at Roger. We have plenty to eat tonight. There may even be enough to store in the freezer. Yes, we'll need to dress and quarter it to see how much there is. Now close the door. I won't tolerate a draft. The homeowner's analog grabs the door and throws it shut. The goings-on of the house safeguarded from the eyes of the prying neighbours by a door and some drapes. Very cool. Dark as hell, but very cool. Okay. DOS. I guess that means now she can have the house. Keep the house. I'll take my car and head down to the station. Oh, which car is that? The one I pulled up in. I didn't notice. But it's the only one sitting in the driveway. But sir, that's my car. What the hell? Roger turns just in time to see the car he calls his own reversing into the street. He sees the homeowner wave to him from the driver's seat and disappear down the road. Here, let me help you with that. Roger tries to run after his car, but the homeowner grabs hold of his shirt. She slips it off with one deft sweep. Roger spins around, trying to grab hold of his button down. He feels goosebumps forming on his arms as his nipples harden. Give me my shirt back. Oh, no need for these either. The homeowner grabs the hem of Roger's pants and yanks backwards, knocking Roger flat on his back. What are you doing to me? The homeowner quickly slides off his pants and the remaining articles of his person. Roger lies dazed, with his head pounding from the collision with the porch. He can hear the sounds of rustling fabric and crinkling plastic bags. Roger wraps his arms around his head and groans. Please, not my chicken. The homeowner gathers Roger's things, glides into the house, and slams the door shut. Roger pulls himself to his feet. He cups his genitals in his hands and tries to keep warm. He shakes from the cold. Okay, so I no longer have a house, my chicken's been stolen, and I'm butt naked. Amazing. Break down the door. Roger is a strong man, but not strong enough to break down a door with his bare feet, so instead, he takes a swing at the door's window. He feels something warm and slippery pour down his arm as he fumbles with the deadbolt. He manages to get a grip on the lock and slide it open. Roger opens the door and shuffles inside. He hears heavy footsteps from the floor above. The steps indicate the homeowner is headed for the stairs. Shit. Had she found his shotgun? Roger only had a moment to act. Hide an ambush. Roger wasn't sure he could make it to the kitchen and back before the homeowner reached him. He pressed himself against the corner wall at the bottom of the staircase, hoping to remain out of sight. The homeowner's heavy footfall makes it easy to follow her movements. Roger sees the barrel of his shotgun slide through the entryway. He grabs hold of it and rushes around the corner. The homeowner falls back on the stairs. Roger yanks the gun away from her with his good hand. The homeowner stares at Roger and tries to sit up. Roger brings the butt of the shotgun down on her face. He presses down, grinding and twisting it into her. Her smile peeks out at him from around the gun's stock. She reaches for the trigger. Roger pulls the gun away and brings it down on her face. He does it again and again. Oh, that's gross. And again. Relentlessly fragmenting and distorting her features into a puddle. He was satisfied when he could no longer see her eyes. The police arrived shortly after. A neighbour called 20 minutes earlier due to the sound of breaking glass. Roger's defence team could not adequately explain the circumstances leading to him viciously beating an unarmed woman to death in his home. A woman police were never able to identify due to excessive facial and dental trauma, missing fingerprints, and a lack of documentation. The jury found Roger Cormack guilty of first-degree homicide. The prosecution convinced jurors that Roger had kidnapped the woman and killed her when she attempted to escape his home. Jesus Christ. Roger now inhabits a cell on death row, awaiting lethal injection. Oh, Rog. Sweet Rog. He just wanted his rotisserie chicken. And back we go. Okay, we're going to break the door down again, and then we're going to try and get a weapon this time. Roger darts to the knife block in the kitchen, a mere 15 feet away. He yanks out the butcher's knife and wheels around, heading for the stairs. A yellow flash and flecks of cinder. Roger lies dead, practically eviscerated by his own shotgun. The homeowner calls the police to report the incident. What's left of the body is labelled a John Doe. It's cremated by the town according to protocol. The local paper released a story about the incident, labelling Roger an unidentified drifter and the homeowner as a neighbourhood hero. Some locals caught the story and recognised Roger from the area. A correction was printed, but it portrayed Roger as an unstable addict to account for his state of undress and violent behaviour. Local officers used Roger as a cautionary tale at school assemblies to display the dangers associated with drug abuse. The homeowner was heralded throughout the state as an example of someone who defended themselves when police were nowhere in sight. She was paid handsomely to act as the keynote speaker for a variety of clubs and events over the next few years. God damn. Okay, next one. Have the house. And now we are going to wait her out. This seems like a bad idea because we're naked and she is convinced she owns this house. So she ain't going nowhere. Roger was not one to bully others or be bullied himself. He stood resolutely on his porch like any respectable citizen would. He spent the first few hours hollering and pounding on his own front door. As it grew late and cold, Roger began to lose feelings in his extremities. His pounding became limp and inconsistent, and his hollers turned into hoarse whispers. He became warm and a bit drowsy. Roger reasoned it was best to get some rest and resume his valiant opposition in the morning. That's hypothermia, my friend. Morning did not come for Roger. He sat on the porch, curled up, and nestled his head against the front door. It was the comfiest and sleepiest Roger had ever been. The homeowner discovered Roger at dawn and called the police. The cause of death was determined to be hypothermia. He was tagged as a John Doe and placed in a morgue to await cremation. Roger's final moments were warm, and he was not afraid. Oh my god. Yep, that went about as well as I was expecting. Okay, let's seek shelter. With no immediate means of retaking his house, Roger thinks it best to find somewhere to rest. He takes off into the woods in search of shelter from the elements. Roger finds a grove just before dark. At its centre stands an immense hollow tree. Roger crawls inside and huddles against its bark for warmth. It protects him from the biting wind outside. As he settles into a comfortable position, his breathing slows and he drifts off to sleep. He wakes the next morning to a terrible hunger pang. He crawls out of the tree and onto the dewy forest floor. He scrounges around, looking for food. He happens upon a large growth of mushrooms. Rog, no man, don't do it. Last thing you need to be doing right now is tripping balls. Obviously we're going to eat the mushrooms. No, we're going to not eat the mushrooms first of all. We'll be sensible, and then we'll come back and eat the mushrooms afterwards. Roger wasn't sure if the mushrooms were poisonous or not. Oh yeah, hadn't even considered the poison factor. He didn't want to risk dying for a single breakfast. He let them be. But the fact remained, he was hungry. He set out for the edge of the forest at a brisk pace, skulking through the tree line parallel to the roadway to hide his nakedness. As the forest thins, he ducks into alleys and hides behind garbage cans. He smells something on the breeze. It makes him salivate and clench his fists with an aggravated longing. Bright red. Something catches Roger's eye. A fire station. Oh, they might be able to help. Ooh, let's go to the fire station. Reason compels Roger to stop at the fire station and seek assistance. He knocks on the front door. The man who answers seems unfazed by Roger's lack of dress. Sir, is it possible the station has some clothing it could lend me? Or some food to spare? Oh, got plenty of both. Come on in. Roger's given a baggy t-shirt with a monogram of a defunct company on it, accompanied by some ill-fitting pants. He relaxes knowing he will not be charged with indecent exposure. Terry's in charge of lunch for the station today. He's got a pot of chilli going. Might not be appetising first thing in the morning, but it's what we got. Oh, I would appreciate some, thank you. The fireman nods and hurries back with a bowl of chilli and a cold beer. Roger isn't normally one for beer, but it is dark and filling. So, if you don't mind me asking, what's got you on the street with your pecker hanging out? I went out for groceries yesterday. While I was out, some woman broke into my house and changed the locks. I couldn't get back in and had to spend the night in the woods. But why was your pecker out? You like shopping naked? No, the woman had an accomplice who broke into my car while I was trying to get into the house. I tried to stop her from taking the car, but the woman in the house jumped me from behind when I did. I took a bad blow to the head. She stripped me on the porch and her pal took off in my car. The fireman scratches his beard. Why didn't you go to the police? It was freezing out and getting dark fast. I didn't know how to find the station and she took my phone, so I just holed up for the night. Oh, glad you made it. Awful cold last night. Kinda makes it our slow season. Oh, I'm just glad I stumbled onto this place. The facade really stands out. You got any kind of documentation to prove that you own the house? Yeah, of course. I have the deed in a safety deposit box, but I need my ID to get it. And that bitch took my pants with my wallet still in them. You think she's still in the house, or took off in the car with her pal? No, she had no intention of leaving. I can tell you that. Well, that settles it then. I'll get the blues on the horn and get this sorted for you. The fireman lumbers over to a phone on the far wall. A wave of relief washes over Roger, knowing a civil servant is assisting him. Still, the fireman's reaction to Roger's story troubles him. He doesn't want the fireman thinking him as a crazy old man. Worse still, Roger worries that he is a crazy old man, and he just doesn't know it yet. A part of him hopes the woman is still in his house, to prove to himself that what he remembers happening actually happened. When police arrived at Roger's residence, they find the homeowner barricaded inside the upstairs bedroom. Raving that the house is hers, she's been there all of her life, it's her childhood home. She demands the police get a warrant to search the premises. But she's unable to provide personal ID or proof of residence. Bearing no legal claim to the property, she cannot refuse them entry. They're unable to locate Roger's wallet, believing that the homeowner has destroyed it. Roger's social security card and birth certificates are recovered from the premises, which he uses to acquire the deed from his safety deposit box. With the proper paperwork secured and presented to the authorities, Roger is permitted entry to his home. The homeowner is taken into police custody. Roger spent the next several years checking in on the homeowner, as she was transferred between a variety of state mental institutions. He eventually lost track of her in the system. He nearly forgot about her altogether until his car was recovered. It was unearthed at a site in Nevada, where BlackRock was breaking ground on the construction of a new housing complex. Roger put the car out of his mind. He didn't allow himself to worry about the homeowner. He kept his shotgun at his bedside and slept easy. That's probably the best ending I've had so far, to be honest. Okay, we're going to do the same, except we're not going to go to the fire station. We're going to follow our rumbly-tumbly and the scent of food. Roger's hunger takes hold of him. It demands satisfaction. So he follows the scent in the air. He finds his way to the nearest Ultra store. The welcomer at the door barely notices him, distracted by a handheld gaming device. Roger wanders the vacant halls of the store until he finds men's clothing. He grabs a simple outfit, a pair of socks and some sneakers. Then he heads straight for the ready-made meals by the self-checkout. Piping hot pizzas for breakfast. Roger grabs one of the boxes and takes a seat on the floor in front of the display. He uses the box as a plate and chows down on the warm treat. A bit sleepy, but satisfied, Roger takes a moment to think. With some warm clothes and a full stomach, the answer strikes him almost immediately. Roger shuffles out of the store, leaving discarded pizza boxes and tags in his wake. He makes his way to the ATM outside the store's entrance. Insert arm into automation orifice. Roger reads the display and looks down. He sees the ATM's orifice. He slides his arm inside. It's cold, pulsating. Roger looks up at the display. His fingers grope around inside the orifice for the keypad. Roger feels the raised shape of the numbers of the keys. He pokes his pin into the pad. The ATM produces his funds. Roger pays for the clothes and pizza while checking out some additional supplies. I'm sorry, why did I have to put my arm in the machine? Why was it pulsating? What? Have I gone insane? I feel like maybe I've gone insane. Roger had never committed a criminal act. He was distressed to discover how easy it was. At his own house in broad daylight. No one paid any attention as he hooked the hose up to the gas tank outside the house. No one batted an eye when he broke the kitchen window and ran the gas's tank hose through it, or even when he threw the lit Zippo inside. The neighbourhood only took notice when they heard the result. The fire department was first to arrive on the scene. Roger was impressed by their response time. Thankfully, their investigative abilities left much to be desired. They declared the fire a natural accident caused by a gas leak. Roger was able to claim the full amount on his insurance policy and use the money to buy a home closer to his grandchildren. Goddamn. Can we talk about the ATM thing though? Like, what the fuck? That's not how that works. Unless I've been doing it wrong. It's time to eat the mushrooms. Roger consumes the mushrooms with a desperate ferocity. That change of music is incredible. I have a bitter taste, but Roger's hunger allows him to chew through it. As his belly fills with the mushrooms, he starts to feel ill. I mean, this is amazing. His head begins to spin. His manner of thought shifts and becomes fluid. Roger sees the world around him as a part of him. Or he as part of it. A very small part. A moat. The homeowner was right. In part. Personal property is a construct. But habitation is not the means of ownership. He did not own the immense tree any more after sleeping in it than he did before knowing of it. The moat merely landed on the tree. In the morning, it came upon some mushroom and began thinking of the world before itself. It surrendered itself to the soil, to the cool damp, to the network, forsaking hunger, forsaking words. Words like Roger. And returning home. Jesus Christ. Yep, that went about as well as could be expected. Find help. Oh man, we're nearly at the end. This has been great. Driven by the belief that he cannot resolve the house theft on his own, Roger runs off to find help. Running down the road, he spots a police cruiser on patrol. Roger begins wildly flailing his arms and calling out for the vehicle to stop. The cruiser comes to a halt and the officer steps out from the passenger side. Roger sprints towards him, shouting, attempting to explain his situation. The officer enters a defensive stance and draws his weapon on Roger. Roger freezes in place, thrusting his hands into the air. Don't move! Hands! Let me see those hands! They're up. I'm cooperating. Suspect is uncooperative. I'm cooperating. What am I a suspect of? Turn around. I said turn around now. Roger complies. Walk backwards towards me. Roger walks backwards towards the officer. Not so fast. Roger stops in a lethal game of red light, green light. Did I say stop? Roger does not speak, and he does not move. He does not want to alarm the officer. Come on, hurry up. Roger very slowly walks backwards towards the officer. I said slowly, not slow motion. Pick up the pace. Roger does not hasten his pace. He's terrified of doing something that could be seen as threatening. That's it. The sound of the officer's thudding footsteps draws nearer to Roger. Roger hears cuffs being readied behind him. He feels the cold metal press against his wrists. The officer thrusts Roger against the hood of his car. Roger can feel the cuffs tightening further, cutting off circulation. Please, officer, I'm cooperating. The officer yanks Roger off the hood and steers him with the chain of his cuffs. The metal digs into Roger's wrists as he fails to anticipate the officer's movements. The officer pushes Roger into the back seat and slams the door. The officer quickly climbs into the front seat and jumps on the radio with dispatch. Roger's naked body wriggles against the leather in the back seat as he attempts to sit up. The officer brings his fist down on the car's dash. "Keep it down back there!" A few tears stream down Roger's face in the dark. The tears make him feel ashamed, but he can't suppress how angry and helpless he feels. "Please, someone's broken into my house. Look, we're passing by it right now. Just pull over." "Ah, the old someone stole my house routine. Save it for the judge, junkie." "I'm not a junkie. I'm a senior citizen and I need help." "Well, you don't see many elderly junkies." "What are you talking about?" The officers sit in total silence as they cruise towards the station. Roger sits back and tries not to exacerbate the situation further. "So, you're telling us that you went out shopping and returned home to find your locks were changed?" "That's right. And then I started pounding on the door and some strange woman answered." "Strange? How?" "What do you mean? She stole my house." "Right, but what is it that made her strange to you?" "How calm she was about it all. Acting like I was a perfect stranger and she belonged there." The officers glance at one another. "So, you found your locks changed and a strangely calm and comfortable woman at the door?" "Yes, but she was in my car as well." "So she left your house?" No, she was in the house and I turned around and saw her driving away in my car at the same time." "A pair of twins, maybe?" "They were her. In the car and the house all at once." "So, what happened to your clothes?" "She took them right there on the porch. When I turned to see my car taking off, she slipped my shirt off." "Without you even asking?" The officers snicker as they share a look. "It's not funny. I was assaulted." "Sir, if a woman came up to me with a smile and asked for my clothes, I wouldn't report her." "Oh, that's a scummy thing to say." "She knocked me down and ripped off my pants." "All right, sir. How much have you had to drink this evening?" "Not a drop." "So you're telling me you tried to get into someone else's house in a confused state, thought you saw two of the same person, and wandered the streets naked, but you haven't had anything to drink?" That's not what I said. That isn't how it happened." "You've already given your statement. All I need to know is how much you were drinking." "Ooh. Insist that you're sober." "I was not drinking. It's true what I said. Every word of it." "Put a note that the subject is not cooperating and we haven't been able to positively identify him." "My name is Roger Cormack. I've already told you that." "Sir, you'll be transferred to a new facility in the morning. You can explain the situation to them." "What kind of facility?" "The kind that has the resources necessary to help someone like you." "Oh dear God." Roger spent the remainder of his life being shuttled between state mental institutions. None were able to properly identify what ailed him. Without a diagnosis and treatment plan in place, they were unable to release him. He raved about the woman who stole his house and his car. The staff learned to tune out his ravings as they did with all the other patients, content to consider his ramblings those of a madman. Unspecific nonsense that you can hear pressing your ear to any of the patient's cell doors. Good lord. Okay, so now we confess to drunkenness. Roger hangs his head in his hands. "You're right, officer. I've had a few too many tonight. I don't know what I'm saying." "That's all right, old-timer. Just be glad it's not dementia." "I'm very grateful." "Well, you can spend the night in the drunk tank and we'll release you in the morning." "Thank you, officers." Roger spent the last few hours of the evening resting on his cell bench. It was rigid and uncomfortable, but Roger had learned to deal with discomfort in the service. True to his words, the officer released Roger first thing in the morning. Roger received a pair of sweatpants from the Lost and Founds to replace his jumpsuit. He had no phone or wallet, and no idea of what direction his house was in. He'd never been downtown and didn't know how to find his way out. He focused on finding shelter and food. He spent each day meeting his fundamental needs. Most passers-by refused to look at him. The rest were too frightened by his appearance to speak with him. Everyone kept a safe distance from him. He faded into the crowds and entirely out of memory. Oh, god damn. And I think that's it. That was so good. So good. So good. I think I got all the endings, so I might... I mean, if I have missed one, then let me know, because I'm curious. But so good. The writing was good. It was quick. It was punchy. It was weird. It was dark. It was twisted. It was great. I love that you can just skip through bits you've already read as well, so you can just jump straight back to the decisions. That makes this, like, it makes it a lot easier to kind of go back and bounce through and get everything without, like, forgetting certain things. But yeah, really, really, really cool. Love this a lot. Big fan. So, if you want to check this out for yourself, then the link to the game page is in the description. If you do not want to come home from shopping to find someone has locked themselves inside your house, then you should like this video and subscribe to the channel. I can't do anything to stop that from happening, but, you know, helps me out, so thanks. And until next time, love you, bye.